In this week's episode, a rural village boy on a mission to change the brewing industry. But first, we introduce you to an award-winning journalist who started out as a street kid. Not too long ago, he was sleeping under boxes and struggling to get a plate of food. Bongani Mahlangu had no choice but to seek refuge on the streets of Johannesburg because his home was dysfunctional. But what set this Gauteng resident apart was the intelligent choices he made, even when he was destitute. Today, Bongani is an award-winning broadcaster who is helping to produce the next generation of journalists. Even when he was homeless, he insisted on going to school.
I made sure that I was the first one to arrive at school and I was the last one to leave because I didn't want people to ask me, "Hore, running going."
Every day, Bongani Mahlangu commuted illegally just so that he did not miss his lessons.
He was a hardworking student. I didn't have any idea what was going through in his life. And, I did not even suspect anything.
The teenager ended up on the dangerous streets of Joburg, fleeing a life of confusion back home in Tsakane. Almost daily, he had disagreements with his mother's lover.
It was all sorts of abuse. He would beat me up, and he just enjoyed beating me up, At some point, I remember at this time, he clapped me, like so bad, because I'd refused to go buy him a beer.
On the streets, Bongani learned to live with strangers and survive freezing nights.
There were other boys who were living in the streets and they would drag, like the blankets, they would drag the boxes and all that stuff. So I didn't want to go home. I stayed with them. We lived together. We became a family. They introduced me to some hustling methods on the streets as to how do you get food, how to make sure that you've got a blanket.
For 3 years, Bongani lived like this. But in 1996, his luck changed. He met people from his neighborhood of Ekurhuleni who were touched by the story of a homeless boy hungry for education.
He told me his side of a story and, I decided, every person deserves to be happy. And that's actually when I went home. I spoke to my late granny about Bongani. And he started visiting. I started taking him to my granny's place.
Finally finding a home was actually a blessing. And I must say that it was, I think, one of the best gifts as a person I have ever received from anyone, was having a loving mother, loving brothers more than everything else. Remember that when you move into a new home, you always worry about the children. Would they receive me well? Would they accept me?
Things were now exactly how they should be for a human being. With a hot plate of food, a bed and roof over his head, Bongani was finally in a nurturing environment. He was about to finish his studies and had a burning desire to travel overseas one day.
Would be fascinated by how they would speak about people who are living overseas or who have studied overseas. I did my research. When I came back, I only told my brother, again, the very same man who helped me off the streets, Nkosana. I only told him. And he then went home and told the mother, if this guy can go overseas, you know, his life can change.
Taking Bongani into their care was not enough for this kind-hearted family. His guardian could see he was ambitious and went all out to support his vision.
She used to work for this company where they produced rubber, you know, in Danswoord. And her and a friend, they would, make calls. I don't know what calls they were, but I'm suspecting that they were calls to the banks at the time, perhaps. But she got me money. She got me a loan.
Bongani could now pack his bags and head to Europe, where he hoped to improve the quality of his life. In the summer of 2001, he touched down in England, where he had managed to arrange temporary accommodation. At this stage, he was still unsure what industry he wanted to go into, so he took up whatever job he could find.
It was a strawberry farm, and there were caravans, so I stayed in caravans. I only spent a month there after I got my 80 pounds.
From the farm, he moved to various companies before settling at a media house in Norwich.
I remember meeting this guy. His name was Graham Plumley. Graham Plumley was the facility manager. He looked after the whole building. And one day he said to me, "You have a great voice, and we have a radio station here. Would you like to try and be part of it?" I was like, "No, me, radio, no."
Circumstances had put Bongani in the right place at the right time. This is where he discovered his passion for broadcasting. 2 years later, the radio station that employed Bongani was incorporated into the BBC, and the former street kid was now with one of the biggest broadcasters in the world. It's been nearly 2 decades since Bongani left the streets. He's had an illustrious career working for local and international media as a radio presenter and producer. Today, this award-winning broadcaster is a lecturer at Boston Media House. He also runs an NGO that produces the next generation of journalists.
He really made me believe in myself. He was part of the panel that actually appointed me as head of news at the time. He told me that there was vacancies at Kaya FM and that I should apply.
Well done, Bongani Mahlangu. Send us your feedback and let us know what you think. Against all odds at enca.com. You can also be in touch with us on Twitter and Facebook. Still to come, South Africa produces its very first township lager.